If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Switch to Metro and get one full Amazon Prime membership included every month. Plus, get 2 free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens. All with 2 lines for just $90. That's the best deal in wireless, only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.
You're listening to Africa Business News on Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
Good afternoon. Here is the Africa News at 3. First, the highlights. Excess liquidity to exceed 1 trillion naira as patronage for OMO bills declines. International Breweries opens 166 billion naira right issue in Nigeria. Bank contract staff records biggest drop-off in 4 years in Nigeria. Mukula Cartel timber trafficking network plunder Zambian forests. Importations of menthol killing SMEs. Federal government laments. Tesco considers sale of Thai and Malaysian operations. Now the details. I am God's baby. The volume of excess liquidity in the interbank money market is set to surpass the 1 trillion naira mark this week, aggravated by declining patronage for secondary market, open market operations OMO treasury bills. Last week, the market closed with excess liquidity of 888.5 billion naira, following decline in patronage of OMO bills, which blunted efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria to mop up inflow of 344.9 billion naira from OMO bills, which matured during the week. Meanwhile, the upsurge in liquidity caused average short-term costs of funds fall by 140 basis points, with interest rate on collateralized open black buyback OBB lending dropping by 136 basis points to 2.43% last week. However, the Apex Bank, in a bid to mop up the excess liquidity occasioned by the inflow, auctioned 400 billion naira worth of OMO bills. This could only save 190.8 billion naira due to weak demand following declining appetite for OMO bills by foreign investors. The International Breweries has opened application list for its 164 billion naira right issue in Nigeria in a major recapitalization that will see the Belgian core investor invest in some additional 123 billion naira in the Nigerian subsidiary. However, International Breweries is raising 164.39 billion naira through a right issue of 18.266 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 9 naira per share. Adding that the right issue is pre-allotted on the basis of 70 new ordinary shares of 50 kobo each for every 8 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each held as at close of business on November 6, 2019. Meanwhile, the opening of application list followed final approval of the offer by Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). The Nigerian Stock Exchange (NSE) and shareholders of the company had earlier approved the right issue. Nigerian banks experienced largest drop in contract staff employment since 2015. This is according to the latest banking sector report of the National Bureau of Statistics. According to reports, reveals that in 3 months ending September 2019, the number of contract staff across Nigerian banks reduced to 3,083, dropping from 46,263 in June 2019 to 43,180 by the end of September 2019. However, despite the drop in contract staff hiring, the data also indicates Nigerian banks continue to rely heavily on them for operations, preferring full staff for core relationship management. The Environmental Investigation Agency EIA Mukula Cartel disclosed how associates connected to Zambian President Edgar Lungu, including his daughter Tasila Lungu, one-time residents of the United States of America, are reportedly involved in the plunder of valuable, increasingly scarce Mukula rosewood trees and hence destruction of Zambia's vulnerable forests. However, the investigation shows that despite public pledges to end the illegal Mukula trade, several politicians are repeatedly named as key actors in an influential timber trafficking network that bypasses existing national bans on Mukula harvest and export. Meanwhile, according to EIA, undercover investigator documented how the state-owned company Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporation Limited ZAFFICO is secretly used by well-connected Zambian and Chinese business operatives as a cover to export thousands of freshly cut Mukula logs. This illegal trade flourishes in spite of bans on the harvest, transport and export of Mukula. The federal government has lamented the importation of metal products into Nigeria, especially those locally produced in the country, has dealt a serious blow on small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, operating in the sector in the country. While disclosing these at a workshop on stimulation and promotion of activities of SMEs in the metal sector held in Jos, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Abdul Qadir Mohazu, said, "We import all kinds of metal products, even the ones produced within the country. This is because the quality of products made in Nigeria cannot be compared with those imported." You are listening to the World News from Africa Business Radio. Let us be law-abiding. Violence does not pay.
You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
You're listening to Africa Business News on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
The UK's biggest retailer, Tesco, is considering a retreat from markets in Asia with the sale of its profitable operations in Thailand and Malaysia. According to analysts, said the 2,000 stores which operate under the Tesco Lotus brand could be worth more than €7 billion. Tesco's only overseas stores are in Ireland and Central Europe, including Poland and Hungary. The company said it was reviewing its Thai and much smaller Malaysian arms after interest from potential bidders. To end the news, here are the main highlights. The volume of excess liquidity in the interbank money market is set to surpass the 1 trillion naira mark this week, aggravated by declining patronage for secondary market, open market operations, OMO treasury bills. The International Breweries has opened application list for its 164 billion naira right issue in Nigeria, and a major recapitalization that will see the Belgian core investor investing some additional 123 billion naira in the Nigerian subsidiary. Nigerian banks experienced the largest drop in contract staff employment since 2015. We also told you the Environmental Investigation Agency EIA Mukula Cartel disclosed how associates connected Zambian President Edgar Lungu, including his daughter Tasila Lungu, one-time resident of the United States of America, are reportedly involved in the plunder of valuable, increasingly scarce Mukula rosewood trees. The federal government has lamented the importation of metal products into Nigeria, especially those locally produced in the country, dealing serious blow on the small and medium-scale enterprises operating in the sector in the country. And lastly, we told you that the UK's biggest retailer, Tesco, is considering a retreat from markets in Asia with the sale of its profitable operations in Thailand. That was the news on Africa Business Radio at 3. We'll bring you more at 6. Follow us across social media handles at Africa Business Radio on Facebook, Africa Business Radio on LinkedIn, and Africa Business Radio on Instagram, Africa Biz Radio on Twitter. We're streaming live at www.africabusinessradio.com. You can download the app on Google Play Store and on Apple App Store. Thank you for listening. I am God's Baby.
I am an African entrepreneur. This is my point of view. This is my position and overlook of business in my continent. This is my African perspective on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Hi everyone, my name is Charity Onyenehu and this is my African perspective. So, I have lived in England for the past couple of decades, and the one thing that stood out to me when I watched African films, especially Nollywood films, is just how beautiful African skin is compared to our skin over there, which in my opinion comes across as pasty and a little bit dry because of the water, because of the weather. The weather over there is so harsh. African skin, people in Africa, their skin is beautiful. It glows, it's dewy. It's like it's been sun-kissed in all these different spectrums of colours. That is my African perspective. But also, I have other things I'd like to say about my African perspective, which is, why are we so keen to live or migrate to a place where we are not only treated as the other, but people come up to us and say, yes, we tolerate you. We are a tolerant culture. We're a tolerant country. Why would you want to be somewhere where you are just tolerated? Like, I don't know, like a smell in the air or rain on somebody's lovely, perfect, sunny day. Why? What is so bad about where we are that we have to run away and go somewhere where we're just simply tolerated? Perhaps it's our problem and we need to figure it out. Perhaps it's something that is a lot deeper than it appears. But my perspective on the matter is, can't we fix our homes before we run off looking for a home elsewhere? Or are we still waiting that somebody's going to drop from the sky and drop things and sort us out? Is that the plan? But I'll bring back more options on my African perspective.
I am an African entrepreneur. This is my point of view. This is my position and overlook of business in my continent. This is my African perspective on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa. You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Doing business in Africa can be complicated.
Politicians sometimes create circumstances that hurt businesses and consumers, and then they hide behind a wall of to avoid taking responsibility for their bad economic policies. On Red Tape Africa, we slice through the jargon, drawing a direct link between government actions and their effects on businesses across the continent. Red Tape Africa is where we break down the jargons of business and economic policies in plain English so that you can understand how the impacts on your business and on you. Join us every Tuesday and Thursday on Africa Business Radio as we deliver an impartial verdict on these policies. Red Tape Africa, economic policy impact in plain English.
Oh, this feels like the final football match between two soccer warriors. Oh my God, can somebody please tell me what the African formation is? Oh, it's 4-4-2, amazing. Cool stuff. That's just super amazing, isn't it? Africa Business Radio is doing 4-4-2 on the news with 40% Nigerian stories, 40% African stories, and 20% global stories. Now that's what I call a homegrown, heart-breaking goal! Go! Yes. Go!
Africa is not a country. It is not a big OMO.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Switch to Metro and get one full Amazon Prime membership included every month. Plus, get 2 free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens. All with 2 lines for just $90. That's the best deal in wireless, only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions. Buckle up, because Metro is bringing you the best deal in wireless. Switch to Metro and get your choice of 2 awesome free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens and tons of memory for all your pics and videos. So hurry into Metro and get your awesome free phones only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.